Hear that? Nothing? Me neither. But that's the perfect spot for your company's name to step into the spotlight. Become an underwriter for As You Mic It and let every episode be your curtain call. Slip a note to podcast@pashakespeare.org for more information.
They were filming in Vancouver in the middle of the woods. And every time they hit record on the camera, they were actually hitting stop.
Oh, no.
And so every time they cut, they were recording. An entire day of shooting just disappeared. And it was on location in the rain. Like there was chaos.
This is what happens when you have Cylons in this world.
Yeah.
Welcome back to As You Mic It, the official podcast of Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival. I'm Jason King-Jones, Artistic Director here at PSF. We're continuing our weekly In the Spotlight series where we take a closer look at the artists and productions that make up Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival's summer season. Every production is built on the trust of artists who develop the collaborative process so that we can tell stories with our audience. Today we're speaking with a couple of folks who know a thing or two about collaboration. They've built remarkable careers on stage across the country and returned to PSF audiences over the years. And this summer, they're sharing the stage on two very different productions. In Romeo and Juliet, they bring Lord Capulet and Lady Capulet to life, and in Ken Ludwig's Moriarty, they step into the iconic roles of Sherlock Holmes and Irene Adler. Offstage, they're partners as well. What?
What? Sorry.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Breaking
They're
news.
not
Are
offstage
we
partners.
hard
Look at what
launching
I've
a new
done.
relationship?
I will
you know
find you
about?
in every lifetime, and that's a threat.
I was mistaken.
Offstage, they were total strangers until they started this process. But now they seem like old friends. Welcome Maboud Ebrahimzadeh and Cassia Thompson.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
I had thought you were partners, and I was just like totally like all of these questions are like, yeah, they're partners, and I messed that up entirely.
That's
I'm
okay.
so sorry.
So Connie wrote this copy that says you're offstage partners. That's because she thinks that your chemistry is so strong that obviously you had to have known each other before.
Fantastic.
So I
Right on.
want to jump right into that because when we make plays, we work together in such an isolated and tight amount of time. Yeah. And sometimes we're playing married couples, sometimes we're playing lovers, sometimes we're playing arch enemies, but always there's this need to build relationship. And it often kind of has to happen at a really kind of unnatural pace. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that chemistry between partners just doesn't happen and you just have to fake it even on stage. And sometimes you're blessed with the opportunity to like build a good bond. How did the two of you, knowing that you're playing Holmes and Irene Adler, and not to mention Mrs. Hudson, who is I think the breakout role for Cassia Thompson. That Mrs. Hudson is fantastic. But so you're playing Holmes and Irene Adler, and then you're also playing the Capulets. So there's an expectation that you have to have some kind of chemistry. Although you could play those roles, the Capulets could be cold spouses to each other, and that's been done quite often, but not in this production. What's it like for you individually as actors, and what was it like for you collectively for this process?
For me, I love working with people who just throw themselves in and get really excited about the projects. I love working with people that I feel like I can learn from and that come to their work with so much respect. So that often is where it starts with me from the table read, even if I don't know someone or I came in very late. I didn't get to table read with you as Lady Capulet, but from day one, you came in with so many thoughts and ideas and you were always in the text. And I was like, oh my God, this is a really exciting artist. I want to see our ideas line up. Okay. Like it made me really excited to come to work and to dig into things with you. And that then created a foundation of trust. And then when we go into the Moriarty room, it's so silly. Like we started from this place of vulnerability. I remember the first day I was like, hey, like we're about to be sharing and pitching ideas and it's going to get silly and it's going to get weird. And if there's ever a time where I look or say that I'm confused, it's because I'm confused. It's not because I'm rejecting or judging or anything. So I think starting with someone who was so thoughtful and so eager and jumping in, it just made me excited to come to work. And I trust that person and I want to meet him where he's at. And I that's where it started for me.
Yeah, I mean, I first of all, thank you. And also, same. I mean, I think one of the most important things about chemistry, which is a sort of strange term that covers all manner of sins, is that whenever you walk into a room and are working with another person that has the same level or degree of attack is what I like to call it, in regards to the material, where they're coming at it from a place of sincerity, not out of a place of agenda, where they want to create something that is the best version of it. Now, your two ideas of what the best version of it can differ wildly.
Absolutely.
But when you're able to recognize the passion and the place where that person is coming from, it makes it easy to see, oh, hey, we're on the same team. We're on the same page. We're trying to do the same thing, and we're kind of coming at it from different ways. How can we support each other in accomplishing what it is we're trying to do? You know, it's the old theater improv adage of your job is to make your scene partner look as good as possible. And when your scene partner is trying to do the same thing for you, you're both raising each other up. As opposed to one person raising themselves up and another person holding them up. You know what I mean? And it negates the need for this sort of self-gratifying, terrible version of acting where the other person is only there in service of the other and one person is just getting the short end of the stick. I think the mutual respect that we have for each other as artists, but also for the other artists in the room and for the text that we're working with in that particular moment, gave us both a honest perspective of what it is we're trying to accomplish, what it is we're trying to do, and the conversations that spurred as a result of that really helped guide us to this place where we could look at each other and say, this is what I really want to highlight, and this is what you really want to highlight. And how do these two things mesh together? Where do they overlap? Where can we help each other in accomplishing that? And there were moments, you know, where Cassia had one idea and I had another idea, and we were like, oh, wait a minute, those are two different things. But how can we do both at the same time?
Or it's like, or is there a middle ground? Or let's try this time that one. Let's try that time that one. See which one feels sustainable and plays, and then we'll go with best idea wins. So it became a collaborative project, and it feels so much better to be on a winning team than it does to feel personally good about yourself for 3 minutes in a scene.
Yeah,
totally. This sounds like what we're talking about is much of the process of working on Moriarty. Ken Ludwig's Moriarty, specifically, a Sherlock Holmes adventure, subtitle, and a bit of a sprawling story that's connected to a few different Sherlock Holmes pieces, but not like a single story, and kind of a narrative that Ken kind of threaded together and also compiles 37 characters. Maboud, you play a single character.
A single guy.
And Doug Hara plays a single character, which means that the other 35 characters are spread between 3 people. Most of them Ian Merrill Peaks. But
shout out to Ian Peaks. Karen.
And Karen, absolutely. But in this process, Matt Pfeiffer is the director, and he's coming in with a proposal, right? A proposal of some ideas, but really leaving a lot to you. This is not the first time either of you have worked with Matt.
No.
No.
How did this production kind of compare to your other experiences of working with Matt? How was this one different? I'm curious about that as well.
Yeah, I've only worked with Matt Pfeiffer one other time, and it was my first Romeo and Juliet. I did it here in 2017 as part of the Willpower Tour.
Right.
And this is wildly different because it was many years ago, and I feel like a different person. But one thing that Matt and I share is that we both are looking for, like, what haven't I seen yet? Okay, this is what I see on the surface. Yeah. This leads to other questions. Like, we both like kind of looking in the back rooms and opening drawers and cupboards and like, what haven't we thought about with these roles and these things? And he is so generous in the way that he really will give you room to play and figure things out. And he doesn't feel constrained by, okay, we have this many hours and this many weeks until, and that's so freeing as an artist. So like, it was so nice to come back into the room with him in that way, because he came with so much trust. And I did reach out to him about a month before we started rehearsals, because I was like, I'd love to get some reference materials from you, because this is compiled from so many stories of Sherlock Holmes, and Ken Ludwig has his own style and thing he's interested in. So I could see it going a million ways. And we got on a phone call, and I was like, I'm not exactly sure what to do with Irene. I don't really know how this is going. He was like, me neither. Let's discuss. So we had about an hour phone call where we talked about different plays or movies or things that it reminded us of. And we were able to come to an agreement from there. So he never guided me in a particular direction, but he's like, this is what these things remind me of. I was like, oh, this is what these things remind me of. oh, this is allowed to be a hodgepodge. I get to play. Yeah, the shows are like doing Romeo and Juliet. It's wildly different, but
Sure.
the collaborative relationship is the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've worked with Pfeiffer 2 other times, but I feel like I've known him forever. Very similar energy and sincerity. And that's one of the things about Pfeiffer that is just remarkable. The guy has a well of sincerity and feeling that is unmatched. And that spirit of yes, and that spirit of that's what you want. Okay, let's see how that works.
Right.
There's rarely ever a moment where something is shut down, or at least in my experience with Pfeiffer. And so, like you, Cassie, we also had a conversation over the phone of, okay, what do we think this is? And we talked about the different iterations of Sherlock that we've seen in the past, whether it be on film or on stage or, adapted by this person or adapted by that person. And I think really the one unifying thought that we had was, regardless of what we think Sherlock is or this play is, ultimately it's just a good time. And it opens up this space. It provides a freedom to just play and have fun and explore and be absolutely silly in one moment and then turn and drop dead serious in the next. And I got to say, for me, in this particular play, I am trying my hardest to not laugh because
There's one thing you say that literally last night in front of an audience, it was the first time I didn't laugh at it. I was like, thank God. I was like, I'm not sure I can get through. I'm not going to say it, but it's like, there's one thing you say that I always break, and I'm like,
Oh, there's just so many moments because, I mean, that's the other thing is we're in a room with some comic geniuses. I mean, Cassia, Karen, Ian, Doug, like everybody's got some real comic chops.
Yeah.
And having to kind of play the straight man to all of that is, it's painful.
Right. You're the Frank Drubbin, right?
I want to jump in.
because everyone in the room, and I mean this like in the original sense of the word, are fools.
Yes.
There is so much technique and craft and wisdom in the silliness that I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's wow.
It's hard. It's hard to hold it together, and it's hard to not participate.
Sure.
And that was the thing, was in the room, we did all participate. We all chimed in. Like, even if it wasn't right for me at that moment as the character to do that thing, the thing that I might have presented in that moment might go to someone else. Like, oh yeah, you can't actually have that, but there's a kernel of truth in there, which is where that comedy lies.
Right.
How else can we tell that little bit of the story? How fun can we allow this story to be while still holding the reverence that we have for Conan Doyle's original piece and Ken's interpretation of this series of stories that he's mashed together, and have a good time. So there's a bit of a knife's edge to balance and walk. But I think with the people that we have in the room, with Pfeiffer and the freedom that he allows the people to play with, we were all able to self-correct and self-calibrate and see, like, okay, you're going to go over here. How do I balance that? You're going to go over there. How do I balance that? And we take care of each other.
And this part of that lifting each other up and making your scene partner look good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I have never taken more joy in teeing up other people than I have, in those few minutes that we have on stage.
Yeah, and I even want to shout out our Dan and the Foleymen, our musician and Foley artist, because they were so. I mean, like, ideas would also come from Ariana or Eli, or we would test things on each other. I mean, like, truly, everyone had a say in the room, and everyone made the production as funny and as sincere and sometimes as like gripping as it can be. Like, it really was an open forum, and that was the best thing we could have asked for. Yeah.
And huge. Also, we do need to make a huge shout out to Bechtel, Alex Bechtel, who did some music for it, because that music adds a tone and a layer to the play that takes pressure off of us in terms of like the melodrama of it all,
Right.
where it can be responsible for doing that. So it takes the weight off of our shoulders and frees us up to not have to create or generate some thing while also trying to do this other thing. So every element is working in concert with each other and helping each other.
Cassie, you mentioned not breaking in front of the audience last night for the first time. Last night, we're recording this the morning after the first preview performance. So you're also going to go back into rehearsals a little bit today to refine some moments and help grease the cogs of the machinery that is this comedy. And then another audience tonight, and then another opportunity to do a little bit more tweaking. And then we open on Saturday. What did y'all learn from the audience last night that you didn't quite know, and that you're curious about going back into the room now to do a little bit more work?
Mm-hmm. I don't know how this is going to sound. I didn't realize, like, I was playing with the comedy. Like, there's obviously a lot of comedy and warmth in the Mrs. Hudson scenes, but I didn't think she was that funny. I took her as silly, as like you would look at her and you're like, okay, this silly, odd, okay. Like I thought she was more of a device of like showing kind of the absurd world that Sherlock lives in before we get to meet any of the other characters, before Otto comes in or any of that. I thought of her as like, okay, we're kind of setting the tone of the world, and I wasn't. So that was a fun surprise, and it was nice to feel the excitement and the joy they were getting from the moments of tete-a-tete, either between Irene and Sherlock, or even, if we're going to talk about chemistry, the chemistry that you and Ian Peaks have as enemies, as mortal. And I will say also, even in Verona, I mean, the looks between you as Lord Montague and Lord Capulet, you have such excellent enemy like chemistry. But I was like, okay, great.
Because they secretly hate each other in life.
So it's fun. It's like, okay, great. We can really lean into that, like, the rhythm of how we're speaking, but also like really leaning into the ideas and the push and pull of it. It's like, okay, great. We can, that is something that I noticed for myself. I'm like, oh, I can turn that up. That's really reading and helping satisfy something that they want. It's a nice crunch when they get to see people go back and forth.
First, touching on the Ian Peaks and myself, we've worked together a handful of times, and I mean, the very first time that we worked together, we met, we were like, oh, we're going to keep doing this. Yeah, we get each other. We're both absolutely willing to snap and play, and that it's one of those artistic relationships that you just want to hold on to. As often as it presents itself. I think one, it's lovely to hear that us getting to do that is in some way helpful to other people to say, oh, no, that gives me room to play. That gives me ideas of how to, or when to, or can I. It gives permission to let loose and see where something takes you, where one stupid idea leads to another stupid idea. And somehow, by the grace of all things holy, it lands on a kernel of truth or humor. And if we're lucky, both.
Sure.
I remember the first time I watched Cassia come across the stage as Mrs. Hudson doing her Mrs. Hudson walk. And I'm standing on top of a ladder that wasn't fully built yet, so it wasn't the most stable thing in the world. I nearly went over the side. And I thought to myself, I have to say words to this person right now? There's no way. She's carrying a tray of fake beans and eggs and toast and a loose fake sausage rolling around. I mean, if you thought sausage rolling around on a plate was funny, a loose fake sausage on a plate of other fake things is the pinnacle of absurdity.
Yeah.
And the absolute razor sharp focus and reality that Cassia was dealing with what was on that plate with was fantastic, coupled with the walk that she had, which was causing the sausage to just roll around. It was like a little gnome just next to my heart, incessantly poking at it, going, you want to laugh? You want to laugh? Go ahead, laugh. I dare you to laugh. I dare you to enjoy this. Oh my goodness.
In the moments, I'm trying to be so careful about not naming specific moments, but I'm thinking of this one specific thing that Karen does that I'm like, thank God I am off stage for this. Thank God. I was like, I don't think, like I can think of at least 1 to 5 moments of like either, oh, I'm so glad I didn't break this time, or I'm so glad I'm not on stage for this, so I don't have to like worry about my face.
We also got a lot of the laughs out. We got a lot of the laughs out.
You kind of have to do that too, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's also something is I can't remember how many times in rehearsals we've said, okay, we need to keep doing this to the point where it becomes unfunny to us so that we can actually execute the joke or the moment or whatever it is, because there are some dangerous moments on that stage where if there is even the slightest crack and you look across the stage and you see it in each other's eyes, you know it's coming. You know somebody's about to get the giggles and we're about to derail for half an hour. Right. And we look and we acknowledge, and I feel the pain that you are in and you feel the pain that I am in, and we just live in this pain together and we hold it. Somehow it happens. It's it's a true testament to the talent and skill of everybody in that room and everybody that was on the production and the people that shaped it and crafted it in such a way that it makes it possible for us to have such a good time and still translate that good time that we had in the rehearsal room to an audience that's experiencing it for the very first time, and letting them live in that laughter. I mean, there were moments where, it was the first time we were trying something, and we thought it would be funny in the room, and it was funny in the room, but then to the audience, it was explosively funny. And I'm just going to say there's a moment very early on where me and Ian are just staring at each other very closely.
Yes.
And last night
they couldn't get enough of it.
They couldn't get enough of it, and I just remember just kind of turning away ever so slightly. And I thought to myself, we could stay here for another 25 seconds and it would be no less funny.
Yeah.
You know what? Being here this summer at PSF, I've never appreciated laughter as a collaborative tool as much as I have. And not just in the Moriarty sense and like learning from the audience laughter, because there's also different flavors of laughter. Are they laughing because they're surprised? Are they laughing because they recognize something? Like in the scene we have as Lord and Lady Capulet when we're confronting Juliet and you will marry Paris, something I did not expect that's actually been really wonderful has been sometimes hearing the audience laugh in that scene, which I've never taken as funny. And sometimes, I mean, like, obviously I'm projecting, I don't know what's in people's heads, but sometimes I'm hearing that as the laughter of recognition of people who have been frustrated with a child or a family member, or people who, it feels so connective and wonderful. And I think in working on that play, we have some very intense emotional moments. Like we're dealing with some heavy emotional truths, and to be able to like fully trust each other as scene partners. And then we have Suzanne, who's incredible as the nurse. And like we collaborated on a relationship that she and I both were like, we've never experienced this kind of relationship between the nurse and Lady Capulet. It was so wonderful to fully dive into those moments of emotionality and then know that when we're taking a break or before we go run it again or when we're moving on, we're not just checking in with each other off stage, but we're also we're spinning off into the laughter version of it. It's like, don't you tell me what to do. like we're saying, it's like, you will marry Paris. And we're like, did you believe her? Can you imagine? Tell me. I wish my daughter would, like, just to go off in those, like to release it. It's just like on stage, it's, Maya Jean is bringing so much energy and she's so luminescent. And I remember I had a moment with you where I was like, Jason, I think I'm holding back. And I can't hold back in this scene because she's lovely as a person. And then she's a light as Juliet. Like you cannot look away from her. She draws you in. And then she's sitting on this fluffy pink bed with her little purple teddy bear. I'm like, I don't want to yell at her. But it was so nice to recognize that and laugh and have a moment where we do this thing. Sometimes it's in the scene, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on where it is. But we did this one thing and it was so intense on stage. And then we went off stage and we're like, we both just, I was like, my mother jumped into my body. Like I was like, we both have been in that place where it's like, that felt very real. I love, did you like it too? Okay, yeah, because that was fun. Like it's so nice. Laughter is a way of moving forward and of healing and checking in with each other in this process, in both of these processes, because these are very fun but challenging plays. Like I've never appreciated laughter so much as I do being here right now this summer.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a remarkable moment. I remember that first time when we were doing, I know exactly what moment you're talking about.
I'm trying not to do
Yep. No, I know exactly what your moment you're talking about. And I remember when we have that moment and the audience laughed for the first time, there was a part of me that just wanted to look over at them and be like,
what's so funny?
What is wrong?
Why are you laughing?
We're both saying the same thing.
Excuse me?
Or when the nurse butts in, we're both like, whoa.
Hey, no. This is, let mom and dad handle business for a second.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable. And that was so surprising. And I've never seen that happen in any other production. And I think it's part of, I do think it's a direct result of what we've done with this relationship that is so often portrayed in a very, very specific way, in quite a harsh light.
Yeah.
And, you see something done once, twice, 3 times, and suddenly it has become canon,
right?
Where there is no real necessity for it to be that way. And when we came into the room, and as Jason and I discussed, as we all discussed, we wanted to bring a love to this particular family as a foundation. So that way, when the thing happens, it is the exception.
Right.
As opposed to, no, it's always like this, which in some senses, kind of, in retrospect, looking at it, it makes the play a little bit more boring, because you look at it and you go, oh, well, she never had a choice.
Yeah. You think you know what to expect,
Right.
and that's not. And I want to say, like, thank you, Jason, because like even talking about Suzanne, who does incredible work as the nurse. I remember we were having an early rehearsal of that first scene with the nurse and Lady Capulet and Juliet, and we both, Suzanne and I, connected about, we had inherited ideas, like of what this scene is and what this relationship is. And I remember having a moment of being like, Jason, I'm just listening to what she's saying, and I don't know if I can roll my eyes in frustration when she's talking about having lost a child,
Right.
and she would have been pregnant with this child at the same time that I was Juliet, and that it speaks to a deep history. I don't want to roll my eyes and like, the silly nurse, she won't stop talking when she's sharing. I wouldn't do that in life. And then it was so nice to have you hear that. And it's like, okay, great. We have goals. This scene is about this thing, and we have goals, and we have to say these lines. But also it was nice because it made us really pay attention to the text. And then I think by engaging in the text in that way and coming at it from a way that wasn't just what I feel like I was handed when I first read this play in high school, it feels like we're allowing the audience to actually get to know the play instead of, it's not about, look at us and how well are we filling in these containers of Lady Capulet and Lord Capulet. It's we're going to shake you up. So now you're really, really looking, and you're really, really listening. And now you're hearing and you're understanding, oh, you've had these losses. Oh, you've had these concerns. Yeah. Oh, you're really only working with the information you know. I, as the audience, have the privilege of knowing what all is going on. But now I'm seeing it from y'all's perspective, and you have no idea. You truly have no idea that there is a Romeo around here to bother you. Right. Yeah. So it feels nice to do the play in such a way that allows them to look past us as actors and really engage with the text and the writing. And I've said this to a few people, but for me, Romeo and Juliet has always been a play about a community that fails its children, because it's an ancient grudge. So the children who are unlucky don't live, and the children who are lucky enough to grow continue the violence, and that is a failure. Yeah. And I feel privileged to be in a production where it's kind of this sliding doors experience where you, at every point in the play, from every character, if Mercutio would have made this different choice, if the friar would have made this different choice, if the prince would have made this different choice, there are so many versions of this play where these kids, and I'm including Tybalt, I'm including Mercutio, could have come out of it alive. Maybe they would have been together, maybe they wouldn't. Yeah. But because the choices they made, it led to these children being lost. And not that hasn't happened before, but something about it is different because it's from these two families. And at the end of the play, the parents get to recognize their parts in it. That piece can come forward, and it didn't have to be that way. So it feels so nice to get to a point at the end of the play when the prince says, go and have more talk of these sad things, that it feels like, oh, instead of an audience maybe just saying, did we like this production, yay or nay, and then getting in their cars and going home, maybe they will actually engage with the ideas that Shakespeare wrote about over 400 years ago.
Yeah.
That's great, folks. And unfortunately, that's where we're going to have to leave it because we've run out of time. We could come back and talk for another half an hour to an hour with the two of you. I just want to wrap it up by saying that I appreciate what you said, Cassie. I think the whole point of wanting to do this production of Romeo and Juliet and all the choices that we made, that if you haven't seen the show, you have to come check out,
Yes.
is to help the audience hear the play for the first time. And you've really helped us do that, both of you, in your work as Lord and Lady Capulet, as ensemble members in the company, who helped really question and challenge and interrogate expectations versus evidence in the text and how we can illuminate that. And I really appreciate you going on that journey with me and how you're honoring these plays and these lives. It's just a really beautiful production. I'm really grateful to have spent that time with you. And yes, laughter, and yes, a lot of open hearts. So thank you both, Maboud and Cassia.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you. Happy to be here. And I'll just give you this. This is my favorite R&J. It's my favorite version of R&J. I got to say, genuinely. And I mean that with no agenda, no blowing smoke up anybody's asses. It is a faithful representation of R&J. And a honest one from a perspective that I think needs to be shared and experienced. And I think it tells the story in a really incredible way. So kudos to you.
We couldn't have done it without you both. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that wraps up another episode of As You Mic It. A huge thanks to Maboud Ebrahimzadeh and Cassia Thompson for joining us today. Ken Ludwig's Moriarty is running in repertory with Romeo and Juliet through the first weekend of August. For tickets, timelines, and information on our prologues, epilogues, dinners, and so much more, visit our website at pashakespeare.org or call our box office at 610-282-WILL. That's 610-282-9455. For all of us here at As You Mic It and Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival, thanks for listening, and we'll see you at La Buddha. Thank you for listening to As You Mic It, a Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival presentation recorded on the beautiful campus of DeSales University. Our music is by Cedric Lamar, with hosts Jason King-Jones, Kim Carson, and Connie Berenger. Our podcast intern is James Nardiello. For more information on our summer theater series, giving opportunities, tickets, and more, visit our website at pashakespeare.org. Be sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you at La Buddha.
Behind every standing ovation is a network of patrons who know that theater changes lives. With tickets funding only half the cost, PSF counts on contributions to produce world-class theater, cultivate new audiences, and nurture future generations of artists. Give today at pashakespeare.org/support. Great theater is a collaboration both on stage and off.